everyone. This is William here, and I'm going to explain why I have a bit of a mild issue with people buying generic TV streaming devices from retailers like Amazon and Walmart. An issue I have with people buying it. This is from KrebsOnSecurity.com, and he does in-depth security news investigation on cybersecurity as well. He does extensive investigation on it. He really does. But I'll read this about about this mostly. I'll read this and explain a little bit about ad fraud and or how residential proxies are both good and bad to some extent, but this one's going to be in part one about that TV streaming stick. Essentially, be careful when it comes to buying streaming boxes off the internet from Amazon or retailers, and you should at least think before you buy that TV streaming stick. First, think about it. Don't go buying without thinking about it first, because if you don't, you'll find things out the hard way later on when buying it and using it in your home network, plugged into your TV, connected to your home network that's being connected to the internet in a very bad way. This is not the first time this has happened before when people have generic Android streaming boxes that promise unlimited content streaming for free but with a one time fee. It says here that security experts have been sounding the alarm for years about the risks of using generic TV boxes that promise unlimited content streaming for a one time fee, warning that they secretly rent the user's internet connection out to strangers. But a groundbreaking new analysis finds that these devices also routinely spoof themselves as mobile phones, clicking on ads on AI generated websites as part of a sprawling operation that seeks to defraud online merchants and advertising networks. Pedro Fale is a threat researcher with the security firm BitSay. Fale told Krebs Security he was able to peer inside a vast and complex ad fraud network by registering an expired domain name that was used to coordinate fake ad clicks across a particularly popular brand of these streaming devices known as H96. This is the H96 Screencast TV Stick 4K Ultra HD Streaming Stick, 16 gigabytes Wi-Fi, 6 streaming media player, streaming media, video, audio file, HDMI wireless extender from laptop, PC, smartphone to HD TV projector monitor. Wow, what a mouthful! Whew, quite of a mouthful to read and all that. Fale said the domain he scooped up was previously used for telemetry, periodically collecting full hardware information and the entire list of installed apps from tens of thousands of H96 streaming sticks plugged into television sets around the globe. But upon inspecting the traffic being funneled into the domain, he discovered nearly all of the TV boxes transmitting data claimed to be the mobile phone models from a variety of manufacturers, including Samsung, Vivo, Huawei, and Xiaomi. We've noticed something was widely wrong, Polly said. Multiple devices reporting to this factory Android TV box backdoor were phones. There's the image. I'll read it. Stage 1 is ships pre-injected. Fuyao apps ship pre-installed as system. It's present in the reshared ROMs. It shows /system /priv app system pre-install stage 2 is identity spoof. Hardware properties are rewritten, masquerading as Vivo, Oppo, Huawei, and other thousands of phones. C2 readiness on stage 3 holds a persistent WebSocket, streams screenshots, and even live streams. Clears all readiness checks. WebRTC. Then in stage 4 is trusted fraud node. Now trusted, it clicks add silently in AI generated websites. Push task module. It says figure 2 from a factory Android TV box for trusted ad fraud bot. I will go to the BitSite's website for more information for an extended version of this. You're just seeing only part of the image on the Krebs Security website. The researchers found all the devices reported having the same two apps installed, and that those apps were made by a company called Zhejiang Fengwo IoT Technology Limited. I hope I pronounced the first part of the name right. an entity founded in 2019 in mainland China which operates an ad publishing portfolio under the name Finguo Group. Further investigation into the Shingo Group revealed that it has registered multiple patents that match the inner workings of these apps. BitSight Trace identified several Hong Kong, Singapore, and single-person legal shell identities used to collect the monetization and traced the operation back to a mainland China company known as Zhejiang Finghua IoT Technology Co. Limited, which operates under the Finguo Group. Fowley wrote in a report released today about their findings. Fowley said an analysis of the app shows that they help to coordinate an ad fraud network that uses these H96 devices as a captive traffic source to click on ads at AI-generated websites operated by the Fingo Group. Very sketchy of the Fingo Group to do that. BitSight discovered that the websites contained machine-generated news articles and graphics across a range of categories, including finance, health, education, gaming, music, and food blogs. But they also found none of these sites displayed ads unless the device visiting the page matched the spoof mobile profile of these H96 devices. AI Digital Humans. The domain for the Fingo Group, fwgcloud.com, claims the company is redefining the boundaries of human-AI interaction, and that it has created more than 120,000 AI digital humans available to rent for everything from emotional companionship to 24/7 customer service and creative design. Blech! Yuck! I detest AI because AI often has caused issues. And speaking of AI, before I continue, Google unfortunately had a backfire where they released a AI tool on Google Earth, and users started using it to create fake natural disasters on Google Earth, which backfired on Google, and the tool got removed very fast after backlash came about and things like that. I'll get to that afterward, but I'll just continue with this. This is the homepage for the fwgcloud.com website right here, the homepage for it. It says here, Farley said the Fango Group's domain shared its SSL certificate data with other domains associated with these apps found on the apps found on H96 devices, specifically the phone spoofing mechanism. He noted that domain also has an internal wiki platform that directly ties to the Shingo Group to a proprietary implementation of a Google-built visual programming language called Blockly, which was originally designed to help kids learn how to write software. According to BitSight, the Fingo Group's employees used Blockly to build the sham websites, allowing low-skilled operators to drag blocks of code together in their Blockly editor without any need to understand what the underlying code blocks do or how they work. Now, my other question is, how in the world could the Xingguo Group access Google's products when Google is blocked in China? That's my other question, how that could happen. Since Google products are inaccessible in China and they're blocked there, literally. How I know this is because I used to watch a YouTuber by the name of Serpent ZA and LaoY86 that used to live in China for so long that they reported on their findings of the internet in China and how it's heavily restricted to where certain things are inaccessible from within China, including Google and many others. And there's no Google Play Store in China either. No. This is the Blockly homepage right here. An operator can drag blocks together in their Blockly editor to define each fraud routine given a task type, reads BitSight's report. Once the routine is saved, it gets exported as JavaScript and uploaded to the S3 buckets. An operator doesn't need as much understanding of the underlying technicalities as it is all set in place for ease of use. BitSight even found one of the Fingo Group's app developers mentioning exactly these advantages, noting that the developer remarked that only a small number of highly skilled developers are needed to build the template execution unit images, and that developers who create execution units from those templates have significantly lower technical requirements, greatly reducing the company's operating costs. Farley said if a user's H96 streaming stick is selected for a specific fraud task, it will be pushed the appropriate Blockly module according to the task desired, which can include silently launching a web browser. Note before I continue, the H96 streaming stick device will launch a silent web browser in the background without the user knowing. So basically, it launches a web browser silently without the user knowledge at all. Literally, it does that. Visiting websites, browsing pages, and managing tabs and clicking on ads. To ensure the TV boxes masquerading as mobile phones can reliably click on ads displayed via the AI-generated websites, the Shingo Group fuses 3 vision and reasoning systems into a single interface, allowing the bots to correctly identify an ad on the web page and navigate the site much like a human would, the BitSite report observed. TV on, proxy, TV off, ad fraud. BitSite found that H96 devices were either relaying residential proxy traffic or participating in ad fraud, but never both at the same time. It does one or the other. In fact, they concluded that when these TV boxes detect an HDMI signal from an attached television, indicating the user intends to stream video content, the box is usually functioning as a residential proxy. When the TV is off, it switches back to waiting for ad fraud jobs. Before I continue, these devices are very, very smart as it detects an HDMI signal when plugged into a TV. When the user intends to stream video content, the box will switch back to a functioning residential proxy. When the TV is turned off, it goes back to the ad fraud jobs again. Fale said he believes the TV boxes are set up this way because its ad fraud activities are far more resource intensive and could interfere with the device's stated purpose, streaming video content over the internet. Despite repeated warnings from the FBI and security industry leaders about the security and privacy risks of using these streaming devices, major e-commerce providers like Amazon, Best Buy, Newegg, and others continue to sell hundreds of different models and brands, bundle unofficial versions of Google's Android operating system, and are frequently marketed via online influencers as a way to access a broad array of streaming services and live broadcasts without a subscription. Uh-oh! Ding, 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 ding. There goes your another red flag that these streaming TV boxes and TV sticks give people a very bad way to access paid content without subscribing to it. That's essentially piracy right there. That those TV boxes, those generic Android TV boxes and streaming sticks that are generic, enable piracy, ad fraud, and other risks when people buy them and use them so willy nilly. Like, to be honest, I have a TCL Roku Smart TV that uses TCL software. It's Roku powered, well, Roku TCL based, but it works just fine, and it only has access to the apps that TCL Roku allows on its own platform, like Disney Plus with a subscription, Amazon Prime Video with a subscription, HBO Max, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, AMC, all of that with a paid subscription, to it. Take note of that. But these streaming sticks and boxes that are generic that ship unofficial versions of Google's Android OS modified automatically just allow access to paid content for free without paying for it first. Even though that when it comes to live broadcasts and streaming services, it's best to pay for the ones that require a payment subscription to them. And for live broadcasts, it's best to pay for the ones that are live broadcasts that require a payment to watch. Yes, it's best required for it. Meaning you have to pay to watch a live broadcast if it's a paid one. If it's like a streaming service like Disney Plus, Netflix, HBO Max and many others that are paid, is in you have to pay to watch the stuff on there. I recommend people paying for subscription services. Yes, I know some people are going to say in the comments or something like that subscription services are already raising prices on stuff like Disney Plus or like Netflix and other streaming services are raising their subscriptions a lot. But hey, the company's got to make money somehow by people subscribing. It can't simply like thrive for free without people paying them. Now, there's the FBI.gov's report. There's a screenshot of the FBI.gov's report on that as a public service announcement. I'm going to continue, but it says here, in addition to enlisting the user's TV box and ad fraud networks, these off-branded streaming devices almost universally come with residential proxy software pre-installed. This software rents the user's internet connection internet address out to anonymous paying customers who run the gamut from aggressive content scraping firms, ticket scalpers, and outright cyber criminals. So if you buy a generic Android TV box or streaming stick, you are directly contributing to cyber criminals indirectly by buying them and using them. You are deliberately contributing to that indirect. What's more, because these generic and generally dirt cheap TV boxes are all horribly insecure by default and bereft of any kind of authentication, installing one on your home or office network only invites further mischief. In January, the proxy tracking service Sentient documented how multiple botnets had rapidly enslaved millions of TV boxes using complex interplay security vulnerabilities in both the residential proxy software and the streaming devices themselves. Show me the money. BitSight said that it tracked approximately 38,000 TV boxes globally, phoning home to the expired Fingo Group domain, and based on that number, the report estimates this ad fraud network brings in revenues of close to $50,000 a day, not counting substantial revenue from the residential property side of the business. However, Farley emphasized that these estimates are highly conservative and based on the telemetry from just one of the Fingo Group's core but older domains. As for the Fingo Group's claim to have 120,000 digital humans at their disposal, BitSight's report concludes that it could just be a clever marketing scheme and or a way to avoid drawing suspicion to the company's operations. I want to say this. What in the hell is Fingo Group thinking? Like, what the hell are they thinking? They are being very shady and sneaky and very suspicious and very mischievous by just doing a clever marketing ploy to do shady things like this behind the scenes without people knowing about it, without drawing suspicion. Historically, when dealing with proxy services or DDoS, known as distributed denial of service, we sometimes see these websites undertake inconspicuous facades so as not to advertise their DDoS capability or botnet size, Holly wrote in the report. This could also be the case here. If the Fingo Group truly does have tens of thousands of AI humans at its beck and call, it does not appear to have dedicated any of them to fielding inquiries from its own website. Krebs and Security sought comment from the Fingo Group by emailing the contact address listed on the company's homepage, but the request bounced back with a reply. Your message could not be delivered to postmaster at fwgcloud.com. Their inbox is full or it's getting too much mail right now. As BitSight's analysis shows that when it comes to TV boxes and streaming sticks, it is best to stick to name brands and reputable manufacturers and then to be sparing and careful with any apps you choose to install on the device as well, as many of those can bundle residential proxy software as well. Google says consumers can confirm whether or not a device is built with the official Android TV OS and Play Protect certification by following these instructions. Additionally, Sentient maintains a running list of IoT devices that have been known to ship to consumers with residential proxy software and other malicious apps pre-installed. Careful readers will notice Sentient's list includes other IoT devices apart from streaming sticks and boxes. As the FBI has warned, residential proxy software has also been found on other popular consumer IoT devices from random brands, particularly digital photo frames. I'll be right back. Here's where I'm going to take you to GitHub, Sentient's GitHub public research page, explaining the devices that have these issues in them, like these list of product names that are very sus that have this issue in it. All of these are like ranging almost over the maximum number it ranges up to is about 957 devices, or 957 product names, I should say. I'll be right back. This is by Sentient on GitHub, but this is a PDF file here that I'm going to explain. It says untitled page at the top, but it says a broken system fueling botnets. Now, I'm not going to read all of this in extended length. I'm not, because it make the video too long, but I will pick and read certain parts of it. But I will give a warning here at this point. Warning, to maintain the historical and technical accuracy of the systems discussed, some of the original code and documentation included below contain offensive terminology. This language is preserved only to provide a comprehensive report on the subject matter. Now, obviously, there is a website called sentient.com/check, which is very interesting. Now, I will read it, part of it. Sentient continues to track the Kimwolf DDoS and proxy botnet with this report, delivering significant findings on the inner workings, infection chain, and reliance on the residential proxy ecosystem. Kimwolf has been highly active since early of August of 2025, last year, this time last year, with substantial growth over the past 4 months. The Sentient's research team assesses whether high confidence that the total number of infected devices has surpassed 2 million, primarily targeting Android devices running an exposed Android Debug Bridge, or ADB. Note that Android Debug Bridge, or ADB, is used for development purposes, but these particular infected devices have an exposed Android Debug Bridge, which is not exposed by default, which is disabled, service via residential proxies. These findings further reveal an expansive network of compromised TV streaming devices used by providers to obtain a large pools of IP addresses. Given Kimwolf's reliance on residential proxies for intersections, we advise all proxy providers to block high-risk ports and restrict access to local network. Users should check whether they are affected by visiting sentient.com/check. Infected DB boxes should be wiped or destroyed. Organizations should block the connections to the referred C2 servers and domains and monitor network traffic for suspicious activity. Sentient expects to observe a growing interest among threat actors in gaining unrestricted access to proxy networks to check devices, obtain network access, or access sensitive information. Kimwolf highlights the risks posed by unsecured proxy networks and their viability as an attack vector. Hold on, or I should say, I won't really fully read this entire thing because it's going to be very lengthy, but obviously you can read some of this yourself at the URL at the top of the browser there in the video, but I will read about the background of it. It says that Kimwolf, the Android variant of the AIS, or the Asiru DDoS botnet, has grown to at least 2 million compromised devices over several months through its novel exploitation of residential proxy networks. Kimwolf remains a significant threat to organizations as it continues to launch distributed denial service attacks, with the Cloudflare reporting a peak attack rates of 29.7 terabytes per second, or 14.40 or 14.1 BPPS. I don't know what BPPS is. I guess it's 14.1 bits per second. Okay, bits per second is my guess. Key actors involved with the Kimwolf botnet are observed monetizing the botnet through app installs, selling residential proxy bandwidth, and selling its DDoS functionality. Now, here's a flow chart of it. There's the Kimwolf scanning infrastructure. It goes to infection request utilizing the xd.resty.to. Then it hits the residential proxy infrastructure. Then it goes to the infection request method. Then it installs the Kimwolf botnet and ByteConnect SDK to the device running proxy SDK. To each device running the proxy SDK itself uses residential home network right here. Now, obviously, you'll see some commands in here that refer to Android because Android uses APK files known as Android package files, or .apks. There is going to be some offensive language in this to preserve the history of it, but there may be some potentially foul language in it. Oh, whoa! There goes one. Woo! I better not read that one. That one was very offensive. Hold on, let me skip past that one. The reason why I paused and jumped ahead a bit is because it's got some foul, profane vulgarity-ish, like the F word, a certain N word in it with the hard R, literally in that. So that's why I skipped ahead a bit. Woo! But this is the PDF file on the GitHub of it, of Sentient's page. And the Kimwolf IP distribution seems to be largely in America, South America, like mainly China, parts of Asia, parts of Africa, where the IP count is a lot higher, things like that. It's actually like a bare minimum of about 3 pages, I should say, 3 pages long. But let me go back to Krebs and Security. I'm going to take you to the Google support page about checking to see if your device is Play Protect certified or not. Devices that are Play Protect certified include proprietary apps under license from Google, have passed Android compatibility testing. There is Android custom ROMs that lack Google apps for privacy reasons, yes, in customization over Android AOSP, the open source ROM for phones and tablets, yes, but note that Google Play Protect certified devices are able to do things that non-certified devices can't do. That devices that are not Play Protect certified may not be secure. It says here that devices that aren't Play Protect certified may not get Android system updates or app updates. It also says Google apps on devices that aren't Play Protect certified aren't licensed and aren't real Google apps. It says here apps and features on devices without Play Protect certification may not work correctly. It says here data on devices without Play Protect certification may not have a secure backup. It says here device certification is separate to Google Play Protect, which protects devices from harmful apps. Turning off Google Play Protect will not fix a device not certified issue. Now, there are certified devices out there, but ones that are not certified, you'll get errors like crazy. Now, you'll get some error messages where you see devices no network connection, what it means. It's just there was a problem with the network connection between the device and Play systems, things like that. It's simple to fix, to connect to the internet. It'll say Google Play Services out of date to update Google Play Services by connecting to the internet. Same thing for Google Play Services can't be found if it's disabled or not installed. It also will give you an error if your Android bootloader is unlocked as a result. If it's already unlocked, it's like if it's pre-unlocked by the manufacturer, like from a generic Android TV box manufacturer. It'll says here your device failed Play Protection certification checks because its bootloader is unlocked. To improve the device security state, you need to lock the bootloader. Motorola phones have an unlockable bootloader, but however, some cell carriers may request Motorola to lock the bootloader for some phones manufactured for carriers as a result. There's also another message you may run into. It says reset device to fix issue. Your device may be rooted or modified a custom Android OS as a result. Things like that. It says here, we recommend checking for and installing the latest system updates for your device. Another error you may run into too. It also says here, there was an issue found with your device as well. This can occur if you unlock the bootloader, modded Android OS, or rooted device. That can trip Google Play Protect, or it can actually trip the device not certified message. You can trip that like a virtual fuse. Hold on. I'm back. Now, basically, some people might or might not like Google products, but I've used a Google phone, a Android phone since early 2012, 2013, where I got my first Samsung Galaxy phone with Android on it as my first Android smartphone. Yes, I never had an iPhone when they first came out. I never did back in the early days of iPhone. I will say I had an iPod Touch in early 2011, but I've never had a iPhone when they first came out, like in 2008, 2009, back then, like the early days. So hold on. Okay, I will explain how that Android phones and tablets in the early days, people could root and modify them to put a custom ROM on them and or add in root and things like that. Since Android is based on an embedded form of Linux, yes, it is. It uses the Linux kernel in Android OS. Yes, it does. Literally does do that. The only thing is that rooting is a security risk on Android tablets and phones and Android TV boxes. Like root allows unlimited super user access to the entire system, unlimited, meaning any command can wipe out a Linux Unix system by running as root. But I'll explain why there's security risks for running with rooted devices, that it's been rooted. Let's see. I'll read why Google talks about security risks with modified rooted Android versions. I'll explain why this is a very it's really a bad idea to have a rooted Android version, like a bit of a bad idea. Google provides device security protections to people around the world using the Android operating system. If you installed a modified rooted version of Android on your device, you lose some of the security protections provided by Google. I've got a Motorola Moto G Pure that has a locked bootloader for TrackHome. The bootloader is permanently locked. I cannot unlock that one. It's permanently locked. The only phones I've had from Motorola are Moto G7 or Motorola Moto the Motorola Moto G style or Moto so, the Motorola Moto G Stylus 5G and the Motorola E5 Plus and the Motorola Moto G7 Power that have unlockable boot loaders, and I got in those phones. I had those from Metro PCS, now known as Metro by T-Mobile. Those bootloaders on those phones were unlockable. Literally, they were. They were not carrier locked, as in you could unlock the bootloader on them and put a custom ROM on it. But, however, some carriers lock the bootloader of Android phones and tablets for security reasons. Trying to unlock them if they're already locked and cannot be unlocked won't work because the carrier has requested the manufacturer to lock it completely down and not make it where you can unlock. Now, before I continue, I will say that Motorola has a Android bootloader unlock device web page where you just Google Motorola bootloader unlock, and then you'll find the correct link to the Motorola website to do it. You'll have to follow the instructions to get the string of text from the Motorola phone using ADB on Windows or Linux, something like that, to retrieve the string key to unlock the correct bootloader. I'll show you that on the website. Note that Motorola does allow unlocking the bootloader. They allow it, but it voids warranty when you do this. Basically, the way it works is that you can unlock a Motorola bootloader by enabling OEM unlocking, retrieving your device's unlocked data via Fastboot OEM get unlocked data, submitting on Motorola's official unlock bootloader page, and then applying the emailed unlock key with Fastboot OEM unlock. Motorola has been supporting unlocking bootloaders, but carrier variants often cannot be unlocked. You'd have to have a Motorola phone that is not carrier specific, and you have to have the Android Motorola USB drivers or standard AV Fastboot tools installed, Motorola account. You'd have to have a Motorola account in order to achieve that. You'd have to tap on the settings about phone build number 7 times. You have to go to settings, system developer options, enable OEM unlocking and USB debugging. Older Android versions omit that. Newer Android versions have it. But to unlock the bootloader, you would have to boot into fast boot mode, connect device to PC using ADB reboot bootloader. You have to get the unlock data command by running fastboot OEM get unlock data. You would have to copy the multi-line string, remove spaces, and combine into one line altogether. You'd submit the data unlock data to Motorola. Then you'd paste the unlock string and hit click can my device be unlocked? Accept the terms and request unlock key. If Motorola says yes, your device can be unlocked, they'll email the unlock key within minutes. Then you unlock the bootloader, use the email key, use Fastboot OEM unlock your unlock key on the far right of that where it says your unlock key, where the email key would go to unlock it. The device will factory reset and will pop up with an unlock bootloader warning, which is normal. Motorola now offers a streamlined web-based portal tool that reduces errors and works on Mac OS and Linux and Windows without manual fastboot commands. It validates device state and reduces unlock time by 68%. So Motorola actually has a new unlock web page tool that does not require the ADB fastboot manual commands at all. You just use the web page for it. Simple as that. After unlock, you can flash custom ROMs or add the custom recovery TWRP, root with Magisk, modify system partitions, all that. But the actions require caution and may void warranty if you do so. things like that. So that's essentially how that happens, how people can unlock Motorola bootloaders on Motorola phones. Samsung Galaxy phones, the older models, you could custom flash, custom recoveries, kernels, and custom ROMs using Odin by Samsung on a Windows PC. Yes, you could do that on the older models. Newer models make it a little bit more harder due to Samsung Knox installed. Knox is a security feature on Samsung phones and tablets, but older models, some will have Samsung Knox on older models of Samsung tablets and older versions of Android. I've got a Galaxy Tab 3 Sprint tablet that has Samsung Knox on it, that in order for me to get a custom recovery like TWRP or that on there, I'd have to modify the recovery. I have to modify the recovery partition by flashing the twerp recovery designed for the Galaxy Tab 3 Sprint model to unlock it. It's easy to upload the twerp or the TWRP custom recovery image. Note that it is easy to brick a Android phone by doing the procedure very, very wrong. It's easy to brick it. And after you do a bootloader unlock, a warning will pop up on screen saying the bootloader is unlocked. As a result, Google Pixel phones will have a unlocked icon at the bottom of the phone when the system is modified yes. So I'll be right back. Now I'm going to read about the risks. Important, if you signed up for the Advanced Protection Program using a modified version of Android, can compromise advanced protection security features. The risks, missed security updates. Automatic security updates help keep Android devices safe. Modified versions of Android don't get automatic security updates from Google, potentially making your device and data more vulnerable to hackers. Harmful apps. Devices with the modified version of Android can download apps that aren't approved by Google, have unrestricted access to your device data. Unapproved apps might contain harmful software designed for purposes like stealing sensitive information or damaging your device. No built-in security from Google. Android has security features designed to protect your device from harmful software, phishing, and vulnerabilities. With a modified version of Android, these Google security features are compromised. Protect your device and data. If you're using a modified version of Android, there are steps you can take to help increase your security. Reinstall the original Android operating system. To restart the security features provided by Google, reinstall the Android operating system on your device. Now, if you were to upload a custom ROM to your Android phone or tablet, you would have to go through the advanced, complicated way of reverting back to the default stock firmware that was preloaded on the device during manufacturing. Note, the steps to reinstall the original Android operating system vary depending on how you install the modified version. Use a different device for important accounts and sensitive data. If you decide to continue using a modified version of Android on your device, consider removing any accounts, apps, or files with sensitive data. Then you can move these important accounts and sensitive data to a device running an unmodified version of Android. It says they're important. If your account is enrolled in the Advanced Protection Program, don't use an account on a device with a modified version of Android. Modified versions of Android can undermine advanced protections and increase security features. So there you go. So that's an explanation about modified Android devices. Well, modified Androids can have security risks that the official ones don't. The official unmodified devices do not. There is a Google Play list of certified devices that are supported here. The generic no-name ones won't show up here. These are the public supported devices. It was updated on August 3rd, 2026. These are all the list of supported devices. All of them appear here that are Google Play certified. It ranges from A to, like, from mostly from all the way up from one and one all the way to the letter A. I believe this list of missing of supported devices is incomprehensive and or incomplete. But the best way I can tell you is that Samsung and TCL phones are indeed certified by Google Play Protect. They're certified by them because they went through extensive testing. There's a retail branding, but it has the marketing name and device and model all the way on the far right of this chart here. correction. This is actually, the list did not load completely through. It just only load halfway. But now it's loaded completely correct. You can see all the devices starting from 1N1 all the way through. These are all the list of certified devices that you can use with Google products or with Google products in general. The list, it takes a lot longer to load because it's so long that I would not be able to read them all because it'd be way too lengthy, but here it is. From A to Z at most, devices that are certified by Google to be supported. TCL, Samsung, Alcatel, all of that. Toshiba devices, Techno phones, Infinix phones, Viva phones, Wiko phones, Xiaomi, ZTE is on that list. However, ZTE phones are banned in the U.S. So is Huawei. Huawei and ZTE are blocked in the U.S. altogether. OnePlus was also common in the U.S. too as a smartphone manufacturer. Things like that. But this list is so long, I won't be able to read all of these out. Literally so long. So this video would be way too long to read them all out. Even on devices with on sold at Walmart with ONN are also certified, sold at Walmart as well. Realme products, a lot of these brands are certified by Google to be able to use Google Play products. Notice at the far end, there is actually Z on here, but I don't see a ZTE on this list. I don't see it. Let me just scroll a little bit through. Let me try to use Control F to shine and try to type in ZTE. I'd be able to probably search for ZTE in this list. Okay, find on page ZTE. Let's see if ZTE shows up. Well, not necessarily the ZTE brand that used to be in the US a long time ago. Like, I remember seeing ZTE phones a lot in the US previously, but those are no longer available in America anymore. But let me just go back to the Krebs Security article. And this is exactly what was being talked about by cybersecurity researchers and everything else about all these generic TV streaming sticks and boxes that can contain some hidden code that executes ad fraud and proxy services like residential proxies on users' home networks, which is very, very dangerous. Now I'm going to go to the BitSite website that